I don't think it's hyperbole to say that one of the biggest, most important, if not the most important decision coming up in the world of entertainment is not who's going to be the next James Bond, though that's a very important one in the world of entertainment, or who's going to be the DCU's Batman, although that's also an important one, but rather way more significance is who's going to be the next CEO of Disney. Because remember, Bob Iger came back to kind of stop the ships from sinking because of Bob Chapek, but he's gone at the beginning of 2026, in early 2026, right? He's already said, I'm permanently retiring at the end of 2026. And they cannot afford another fiasco like a Bob Chapek. They cannot survive it. And so this upcoming decision that they have about who to replace him is absolutely crucial. And now, according to a story in the New York Post, they're saying it's down to two people now. Let's read what they're saying here. They're saying the race to succeed Disney CEO Bob Iger is now down to two final candidates, and the head of the theme parks division appears to be the likely winner, according to report. Josh D'Amaro, who currently holds the title of Chairman of Disney Experiences, has been out in front in recent months, attending movie premieres, speaking at investor conferences, and holding court with company employees. D'Armo's increasingly public profile has left insiders with the distinct impression that he is the favorite to emerge in what has become a two-horse succession race against Disney Entertainment co-chair Dana Walden, according to Bloomberg News reports. So here we got it. They're saying it's down to D'Armo and Walden. Now, before we go into either of those two, again, just have to completely reiterate how vital, like without any ounce of exaggeration or hyperbole, I believe this is a make or break moment for Disney. This is a make or break moment for Disney. Because granted, Iger came back, you resteadied the ship. Marvel is now in a much better place than it was. You know, it took years to kind of repair it, but Marvel's back in a much better place than it was. With Andor having come out, and now we got Starfighter coming, there's a little bit, at least a monicum of optimism returning to Star Wars. You know, all this kind of stuff. But, you know, Iger said, I'm only here to the beginning of 2026. We need somebody to replace me because I'm moving on. They have to make sure this time around that they get somebody who is in tune with the priorities and the direction that Disney is now heading in. Because the problem with Bob Chapek, and remember, I thought Bob Chapek on paper was a perfectly good selection. And he was. On paper, he was a perfectly good selection. The problem is, the moment he came in, he decided to do this radical reorganization of the entire company that made all of us go, whoa, wait a minute, what are you doing? Taking authority away from guys like Kevin Feige and the studio heads, creating new middle layers of management where his banker buddies were making decisions about entertainment and all kind of stuff. And it just threw everything into chaos. It alienated all the talent from Disney. Of course, the Scarlett Johansson lawsuit became a big kind of representation of everything that was going wrong. They cannot have that again. They need to get somebody to come in who understands the Disney culture, who understands where it's going, and who understands the need to empower empower the creatives they have there, not strip the creatives of their power. And you know, you're looking at these two now when you're talking about Walden, who's currently a co-head of the studios, right? So that's the studio side. D'Armo, who's like the head of the other stuff that Disney does, cruises and parks, and arguably the more important parts of Disney. I'm sure they both understand the Disney culture. I'm sure they both have worked very closely with Iger. I'm sure they both fully understand how everything went wrong with Chapek. I'm sure neither of them will repeat those mistakes. But to me, it comes down to which one of these two are going to do their job and empower other people to do theirs. Because, with all the faults and all the strengths of Bob Iger, one of his biggest strengths is the fact that he gives people responsibility, and then he gives them authority to carry out their responsibility. And it's going to be down to me whichever one of these two can do that best. Guys, we want to take a second to thank the sponsor of today's video, Zapier. One of the biggest game changers of the past year has been AI. But let's be real, just talking about AI doesn't actually make your day any more productive. What does make it more productive is finding tools to put AI to work for you. And that's where Zapier comes in. Zapier is the easiest way to take AI and plug it directly into the apps and processes that you're already using every day. No IT bottlenecks, no complexity, just results. For me, it's been about saving time on repetitive stuff so I can focus on the work that matters and I actually enjoy. And it's not just me. Over 3.4 million companies are already using Zapier to streamline everything from sales and marketing to IT and HR. With their AI orchestration platform, you can connect top AI models like ChatGPT or Claude right into the apps you already use. So whether it's automatically enriching leads, coaching your sales team, or even resolving IT tickets, Zapier makes it simple. Guys, join the 3.4 million companies already automating with Zapier and transform how you work with Zapier and AI. Get started for free by visiting zapier.com/Campea. That's zapier.com/Campea. Anyway, Rob, you're looking at this whole situation. What are you looking for as far as traits and in the next Disney CEO? How important is this next decision? And do you lean one way or the other when it comes to these two horses in front of the race?
Well, I think one, it's an incredibly important decision because rightly or wrongly, Disney has a lot of input and a lot of influence on our culture. And if you think about it, from the time we are born, we here in the United States and around the world, the Disney brand and the Disney imagery influences us from the time we're small children now till, being middle-aged men with one foot in the grave. So I think that there is the custodianship of Disney and what Disney represents, the happiest place on earth being Disneyland, or putting a smile on a child's face the first time you get to watch, say, Aladdin or The Lion King or Beauty and the Beast. This is not to be trifled with or taken lightly. And I think that moving forward deeper into the 21st century, the fact that people are going to want better experiences, we're going to be able to use, the Disney parks have been around now since the 50s, and they're only going to get better with technology. And I think that Disney is also, through their films and through their real life experiences in the parks, they're pushing all different kinds of technologies. So it's a really important company that is led by somebody who's both visionary and also has a real handle on practical business matters. Because Disney, from cruise ships to giant parks to movies and television to gaming, there's so much within Disney that it needs somebody that has a holistic sense of it all. And it is important. Is it going to cure cancer? No. But I think putting smiles on people's faces goes a long way to making our civilization better. So that might be a little hyperbolic, but I do think it's really important. So I don't know enough about either candidate, but it seems like the person that's coming from parks, because parks are they have all different kinds of things within those parks, and the parks are representative of all of the other creative endeavors at Disney. And there's various parks that have Avatar experiences, or I remember, when Cars Land opened in California Adventure, and soaring through California is still one of my favorite things to do in Southern California, sitting in the ride, and now you travel around the world. It's great. So I do think that somebody coming from that parks background is probably crucial. So maybe
I had
that direction.
Yeah, maybe. I had somebody before the show started. I was in the live chat with some people, and one of our viewers said, we really got to get a CEO who can engage with the fans and get engaged with the fans and talk to the fans across all the things and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, and I honestly said, no, we don't. Quite frankly, I don't want somebody who's out there high-fiving with the fans and getting on stage much and stuff like that. I want a boring, smart, talented, competent leader sealed away in their boardroom, making right decisions and empowering other people to be the faces of the brand.
Yeah.
I don't need a showman, okay? You get somebody else to be the showman. I want somebody who's boring and smart. That's all I want. It's kind of what I want in a prime minister and a president as well. Somebody who's just boring and smart. But I mean, that's what I think Disney needs right now. They don't need a showman. They need somebody who knows what they know, run the business, and then hire and empower other people to do that other stuff. At least that's the way I think they need to go.
But I also think that person needs to be a fan of Disney's brands.
Agreed.
And understand synergistically why Marvel, Star Wars, the Disney live action and animated shows, why all that stuff matters, and where does the Disney magic come from? You've got to understand that. Why does Star Wars have universal appeal? What makes the difference between great MCU movies and mediocre MCU movies? You've got to understand those things as well, because that way it allows you to empower the right creative people.
Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? According to that article, they're saying it's now down to the last two people. It's a 2-horse race now to be the next Disney CEO. And guess what? 2026 is really almost on us here. We're going to be getting the new successor, a new age in Disney. How do you see it going? What type of person do you want to see in that role? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.